All right, welcome everyone. We are going live. This is part four, the real part four. I do apologize. This is the real part four to the Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yesterday we had some type of glitch or error. It was a real good live, but for some reason we had a glitch or an error. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to move forward through Rich Dad and Poor Dad, right? But I want to make sure that we share with you the Sneak Peek Sunday. Sneak Peek Sunday, you can get the experience to go through our step by step process for free. Like, comment, or share this video. Like, comment, or inbox rather me, or like or comment this video, and I will get you the information. Okay, so we want to go ahead and move forward with this. We're going to start again and Think and Grow Rich. And I'm not going to take up any time due to the fact that we had an issue yesterday. Okay. So let me get this in the screen for you all. And you should be able to see this now, hopefully. And I'm going to go ahead and get started on it. Okay. So we left off with avoiding one of life's biggest traps, right? And so as it states here, let me make sure I got to do one more thing to make sure I've been playing with this system. I really like the way this system works, and I don't want to take up any of y'all time, but give me 1 second. I need to drop this out of there, I think, but I want to make sure on that. And I think there's another setting that I can set later that I'm not going to waste time with. But like I said, I want to get straight into the book. I don't want to waste time. Um, yeah, we can do that. Let me see. I want to see something. We might be all right. So let's jump right into this book, right where we left off. It said avoiding one of life's biggest traps. It says where you boys had better start thinking. You're at one of life's biggest lessons. And so what had happened before? He was angry, he was upset, his ego had taken over because he wasn't getting paid. Therefore, he now got the information that the rich don't work for money, right? That was one of the biggest life lessons, the things that they had to learn. And in learning that, now he's ready to hear. And so we're going to move forward from there, right? So avoiding one of life's biggest traps, it says, well, you boys have better start thinking. You're starting uh, at one of life's biggest lessons. You're staring at one of life's biggest lessons. If you learn it, you'll enjoy a life of great freedom. Which means if they don't learn it, what's going to happen? And they're gonna get a life of pain, right? So we want to have a life of freedom and security. If you don't, you'll wind up like Mrs. Martin and most of the people playing what softball in this park. They work very hard for little money, clinging to the illusion of job security and looking forward to a 3 week vacation each year and maybe a skimpy pension after 45 years of service. If that excites you, you'll give me I'll give you a raise of 25 cents an hour, right? So they're standing there looking. He said 25 cents an hour, right? Which is a big difference than where they were starting out at 10 cents an hour, right? But that's if they want to be a slave for the rest of their life. That's basically what he's saying. And if you choose to be in that format, if you choose to be an employee for the rest of your life, that's up to you. Just make sure you're making that choice consciously, not unconsciously, but consciously making that choice. And there's nothing wrong with that. Every quadrant is good for different types of people. Okay. So it says, but these are good, hardworking people. Are you making fun of them? I demanded. That's what Robert Kiyosaki said. A smile came over Rich Dad's face. Mrs. Martin is like a mother to me. I would never be that cruel. I may sound like I may sound unkind because I'm doing my best to point something out to the two of you. I want to expand your point of view so you can see something most people never have the benefit of seeing because their vision is too narrow. And this is where the 99% can fall, is being narrow minded or narrow having a narrow vision versus a broad vision. being able to see beyond the wall. And that was what me and my friends, we used to call it being able to see beyond the wall. You've got to be able to see beyond the wall. And most people cannot. They can't see beyond that wall. And that wall is the things we talked about before, right? Or that we're going to talk about, I believe, is going to talk about in the future. Mike and I sat there uncertain of his message. He sounded cruel, yet we could sense he was trying to drive home a point. With a smile, Rich Dad said, "Doesn't that 25 cents an hour sound good? Doesn't it make your heart feel a little, beat a little faster?" I shook my head, no, but it really did. 25 cents an hour would be big bucks to me. Okay, I'll pay you $1 an hour, Rich Dad said with a sly grin. Now my heart began to race. My brain was screaming, take it, take it. I could not believe what I was hearing. Still, I had nothing. Okay, $2 an hour. My little brain and heart nearly exploded. After all, it was 1956, and being paid $2 an hour would have made me the richest kid in the world. I couldn't imagine earning that kind of money. I wanted to say yes. I wanted the deal. I could picture a new bicycle, new baseball glove, and the adoration of my friends when I flashed some cash. On top of that, Jimmy and his rich friends could never call me poor again. But somehow my mouth stayed shut. Now, I want us to look at that because those are the acumens that the average person looks for, right? The accolades, right? They're becoming wealthy to impress somebody. And you're not going to become wealthy impressing somebody. You can become rich that way, but you cannot become wealthy impressing people, right? Impressing people is not going to make you wealthy. And that's a very important lesson for many people to learn because most people believe it is going to make them wealthy. Most people believe that it is going to make a difference. Most people are going to believe that they want to believe that it is going it is what they're looking for and it's not what they're looking for, right? They're not looking for wealth. They're looking to boost their ego. And you can never boost your ego through money. Money can't boost your ego. Money can't truly boost your self-esteem. That hole will still be there. What you need in order to boost your self-esteem, that is mindset training. That is back to meditation. That is those type of things. And a lot of people are seeking money, right? Thinking that it's going to change their mindset or actually it's going to fill that hole or that void of low self-esteem that they've received throughout life, right? And it's not. It won't do that. So if that's what you're trying to use money for, then you're gonna miss this. But if you're truly trying to become wealthy, so that you can be comfortable, you can be stress free, so that your health is better, so that you can now help people around the world, right? You can get your time back to spend with your family, and you can do those things, right? Then you're on the right path, and then to be able to leave a legacy for your future generations, right? But as that child, you heard what he saw when he saw that $1 an hour, right? What did he see? I want to read it again. It says, okay, I'll pay you $1 an hour, Rich Dad said with a sly grin. Now my heart started to race. My brain was screaming, take it, take it. I could not believe what I was hearing. Still, I said nothing. Okay, $2. My little brain and heart nearly exploded. After all, it was 1956, and being paid $2 an hour would have made me the richest kid in the world, right? Wealthy people don't really want you to know that they're wealthy, right? Rich people want you to know they're wealthy, but wealthy people do not want you to know that they're wealthy. That is not their goal. Their goal is not trying to make you wealthy. I mean, not trying to let you know that they're wealthy, right? Their goal is to build wealth. Rich people want you to know that they're rich, but wealthy people do not want you to know that they're wealthy, usually. right? I couldn't imagine earning that kind of money. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to deal. I wanted the deal. I could picture a new bicycle, a new baseball glove, and the adoration of my friends when I flashed some cash. On top of that, Jimmy and his rich friends could never call me poor again. But somehow my mouth stayed that, right? So he was able to say, "Nah, I'm not going to do that." The ice cream had melted and was running down my hand. Rich Dad was looking at two boys staring back at him, eyes wide and brain empty. Hold on a second. I can't see that underneath. Oh, there we go. He was testing us, and he knew there was a part of our emotions that wanted to take the deal. So there was a part of our emotions that wanted to take the deal, right? And that's what happens to us. We always get caught in that trap of money. So I'm gonna. I've even had people who were leaving their job, right? Because they now were able to celebrate zero, meaning the residual income or the income that they had coming in from their business started to be able to take over their rent, their mortgage. It could pay all their bills and somewhat of a lifestyle at that time. That the same level of lifestyle or better that the job was giving them. They were able to celebrate zero and leave their job. The job then, when they were going to leave, decided to throw them more money, right? They could have been paying them this the whole time. But because they were going to leave, the job now threw them that money. And this is where you end up a lot of times. A lot of people, they're bought. And the wealthy, what he's teaching them is don't have a price. Don't ever be bought, right? If you're waking up to go somewhere that you really don't want to go to every single day, called a job, you're bought. All right. So I'm just letting you know, don't ever be bought. He understood that every person has a weak and needy part of their soul that can be bought. And he knew that every individual also had a part of their soul that was resilient and could never be bought. It was only a question of which one was stronger. All right, $5 an hour. Suddenly, I was silent. Something had changed. The offer was too big and ridiculous. Not many grown-ups in 1956 made more than that. So I want to look at that because there's nothing too big. See, when you get to a certain level of understanding, you realize you can create anything. How do you think billionaires became billionaires? Do you think there was something too big, too great? No. They were able to hear something that was big where everybody else ran from and take hold of that opportunity and run with it. Most people think too small, and that's where he was. His level of knowledge, his circle that he ran with, his environment and what he grew up in, and the knowledge that he was taught, right? Because wealth is taught where? In the home, only allowed him to believe up to that $2. When he went to $5 an hour, he couldn't handle that thought. He couldn't handle that $5 an hour thought because it was too great for him. And so make sure you're not stuck in a paradigm that's making you say, man, that looks good. It sounds great. But that can't be true because it's too big. A lot of times it is true. And you miss the opportunity because your thinking was too small. It's not true in your world. But as we stated before, the wealthy live in another universe. So you're right. In your circle of influence, in your universe, in the universe of the poor and middle class, you're right. It is too big. It can't be true in that universe. You're right. But in the universe of the wealthy, everything, I mean, there's a lot of things that are available that we're just not aware of. Suddenly, I was silent. Something had changed. The offer was too big and ridiculous. Not many grown-ups in 1956 made more than that. But quickly, my temptation disappeared and calm set in. Slowly, I turned to my left to look at Mike. He looked back at me. The part of my soul that was weak and needy was silenced. The part of me that had no price took over. I knew Mike had gotten to that point also. Good, Rich Dad says softly, and he's talking about not being able to be bought out. Most people have a price, and they have a price because of human emotions named fear and greed. This is why the average person gets up every day to go to work. Fear. They're afraid of losing a house. They're afraid they can't take care of their children. They're afraid of this and that. You cannot ever allow fear to dictate and determine the direction that you're going to go, ever. If you're allowing emotion to dictate your direction, you've already lost. That's how they trap an animal. The way you trap an animal is to figure out how it moves and what is its fear factor and what it does once it's afraid. If you figure out what it does once it's afraid, you put it in fear and it will do that thing and then you trap it, right? So we don't want to live in fear. We don't want to be trapped. We don't want to continue in this rat race. We want to come outside of the trap, clear the fear, and now be able to move forward and execute. So it says, and they have a price because of emotions named fear and greed, right? First, the fear of being without money motivates us to work hard. And then once we get that paycheck, good or greed or desire makes us thinking about all the wonderful things money can buy. The pattern is then set up. So the trap has been laid at this juncture. At this time, as soon as that happens, the trap has already been laid, right? Yes, the trap has been laid. What pattern, I asked? The pattern to get up, go to work, pay bills, get up, go to work, pay bills. People's lives are forever controlled by two emotions, fear and greed. So, where do we see this again? Let's look at it. Hold 1 second. These two emotions. Let me get this up for you all. I definitely want you to be able to see this. It's not there. It's gotta be here. All right. No, it is there. I apologize. Hold 1 second for me. All right. So I want you guys to see this. Right? Here we go again. So get up, what? Pay bills, right? You're short on cash. You're using your credit to make up for it. Your credit balances grow. You got higher payments and less money, which makes you have to do what? Get up and go to work again, and get up and go to work again, and get up and go to work again. And this debt cycle happens all over again. What he's going to teach them is what we call the wealth cycle, where you get up and you make money, then you pay yourself, you invest money, you master credit, your balances grow, right? And now you're going to get interest payments from that balance, and then you don't have to get up and go no more because now you're living off your interest versus what you're making at your job. You go to work because you want to, if you decide to keep your job, not because you have to. And that's a much better place to live. And that's where we want to get to, right? So let's continue. And I keep harping on that and reiterating it because it's super important, right? So now it says, where do we leave off? Here we go. The pattern is set, right? The pattern is the pattern of get up, go to work, pay bills, get up, go to work, pay bills. People's lives are forever controlled by two emotions, fear and greed, right? And so here we see fear and greed. Offer them more money and they continue the cycle by increasing their spending. This is what I call the rat race. So now we have a definition of the rat race, right? The pattern of get up, go to work, pay bills. Get up, go to work, pay bills. That is the rat race. There is another way, Mike asked. Oh, there is another way, Mike asked. Yes, said Rich Dad slowly, but only a few people find it. And what is that way, Mike asked? That's what I hope you guys will learn as you work, right, and study with me. That is why I took away all forms of pay. Any hints, Mike asked? We're kind of tired of working hard, especially for nothing. Well, the first step is telling the truth, said Rich Dad. We haven't been lying, I said. I did not say you were lying. I said to tell the truth, Rich Dad retorted. The truth about what? I asked. How you're feeling, Rich Dad said. You don't have to say it to anyone else. Just admit it to yourself. You mean the people in the park and the people who work for you, Mrs. Martin, they don't do that? I asked. I doubt it, said Rich Dad. Instead, they feel the fear of not having money. They don't confront it logically. Key point. They don't confront it logically. They react emotionally instead of using their heads, Rich Dad said. Then they get a few bucks in their hands, and again, the emotion of joy, desire, and greed takes over. And again, they react instead of think. So fear to greed, right? So their emotions control their brain, Mike said. That's correct, said Rich Dad. Instead of admitting the truth about how they feel, they react to their feelings and fail to think. They feel the fear, so they go to work, hoping the money will soothe the fear, but it doesn't. It continues to haunt them, and they return to work, hoping again the money will calm their fears, and again it doesn't. So it doesn't do that. It doesn't work that way, right? It doesn't work that way. Fear keeps them in this trap of working, earning money, hoping the fear will go away. But every day they get up and that old fear wakes up with them. For millions of people, the old fear keeps them awake all night. And that's real, right? That is a real reality for most people. They are living a nightmare and do not have to. They do not have to. Causing a night of turmoil and worry. So they get up and go to work, keeping or hoping that a paycheck will kill the fear gnawing at their soul. Money is running their lives, and they refuse to tell the truth about that, which is very important. Money is in control of their emotions and their souls, and it is. So people getting up, going to a place that they don't want to be every day, what are they going for? You think they'll tell you money don't matter, but you think they believe that? Absolutely not, because money is running their soul. This is very important to get right here. This is a key point. So we're going to stop here today, right? And so what I'm going to do now, I want to share with you all before we go. Um, Definitely before we go, this weekend we're going to have the sneak peek Sunday. So if you want to experience our program and process, if you're trying to get a house with no credit check, if you're trying to get um, if you're trying to be able to get more money on your check without starting a business or having to work more hours, if you're trying to lower your bills without having to switch services or anything like that. If you're working on getting your credit repaired, we're going to have breakout sessions to help you through that process, walk you step by step through the different processes. You can get a sneak peek of that, and it's going to be outstanding. So, with that, guys, I appreciate everyone being here. I know it's short today, but I wanted to make sure that I made up for that part 4 where we had an error with the system. So with that, I appreciate everybody's time. And before we get out of here, we're going what? Beyond credit. Peace.